I had a little bit of a chuckle to myself upon making the audio file for this video commentary. Double P, double J. That's the theme of today's video, because I wanted to go over some thoughts here for the Vancouver Canucks and the Chicago Blackhawks. And it might seem weird to link these two teams in a video commentary together, but I think there's a really interesting narrative that we can pull up that, in a way, sparks some negative feelings from both of these fan bases. Now, negative feelings are not good. It's by definition. So what reason is there for us to go out there and inspire, ignite, bring out negative feelings? Really, there isn't a good one. But I thought there was an interesting enough conversation to dive into in regards to the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. To open things up, from the Vancouver point of view, I wanted to head over to a tweet made by Thomas Drance earlier before the finals started that talks about some guys that happen to be playing in this finals matchup. Take a look at this. Podkolzin is in the Cup Final, Blake Price says, and Gustav Forsling, and Jonah Gadjovich, Drance replied. Total return from all three of these Canucks draft picks was 17 games of Adam Clendening and a 2025 fourth-round pick. So, if you look at the trade tree, you look at Forsling, Gadjovich, Podkolzin, the Vancouver Canucks got rid of 3 of these inevitable Stanley Cup finalists for just Adam Clendening and a fourth. Not great. And I think, for a lot of Canucks fans who have been watching the Stanley Cup Finals, it's been more of a bubbling narrative under the hood that these former Canucks guys happen to be making an impact that is not insignificant. For the Edmonton Oilers, you are seeing Vasili Podkolzin. He's going out there, getting hit. He's making brilliant plays that lead to Sam Bennett breakaways. Okay, enough with the sarcasm. I'm sorry, Pods. We love you still, Pods. But Podkolzin had himself a role on this Edmonton Oilers bottom 6 as an energy forward who's got some forechecking ability. He's at 7 points in 19 games. That's not bad. In the regular season, he had 24 points in 82 games. That's not bad at all. Vasili Podkolzin is doing some pretty reasonably alright work. Spared the Sam Bennett breakaway. And then, for the Florida Panthers, sure, we can talk about Gustav Forsling, but we've made that video commentary before. That's definitely a topic we've dived into. I wanted to talk about Jonah Gadjovich. There was a post made on the R Florida Panthers subreddit, and yes, before you ask, I was on the Florida Panthers subreddit, talking about the love for Jonah Gadjovich and how much they seem to be appreciating this guy after his antics and ejection from game number 3. He was going toe-to-toe with Darnell Nurse, and he was going out there with a really big smile on his face, tongue out, bloody nose, etc. He's been a total game changer. Not in terms of the points. He's not really too amazing at that. Although he does have 3 points in 13 games for the Panthers this season in the playoffs. Not bad in the slightest, but of course, he's a bottom 6 energy forward who's got some really big physical edge. Gadjovich was also a Vancouver Canucks draftee. And ultimately, I wanted to think about both of these guys because when you consider the type of profile the Vancouver Canucks are clamoring for, spare the offense. We can talk about offense another day. Podkolzin had some offense in Edmonton, but aren't Gadjovich and Podkolzin kind of the exact type of player that the Canucks want to mold their bottom 6 around nowadays? I mean, I don't really understand how the Vasili Podkolzin experiment didn't work under Rick Tocchet, but when you consider the O'Connors, the Garlands, the Joshuas, Gadjovich and Pod seem like they would fit like a glove in that type of a system. Would it not? And so, there could be some remorse here from the Vancouver Canucks, seeing these guys doing as well as they are doing, and I get it, for Jonah Gadjovich in particular, it wasn't Alvin and Rutherford that traded this guy away. Gadjovich was traded to San Jose, a few months before Patrick Allvin was hired to be the Vancouver Canucks GM, so it's not necessarily the easiest comparison to make, but I can understand if there are some remorseful feelings from Vancouver fans when they see Podkolzin and Gadjovich having the impact that they're having. And the same thing can be applied to the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, that's right, we're going over to the Windy City, former rivals to Vancouver in the Chicago system, because there was a post made on the R Blackhawks subreddit, or R Hawks is what it's called, by Killjoy_ with a 0 in there. It's a weird username. They went out there and made a sentiment that I thought was really interesting. After the way Corey Perry left Chicago, does anyone resent his quote-unquote renaissance with Edmonton as much as I do? Or am I just a bitter old man? The top comment from Batman's a Scientist says, "Not as much as I resent Seth Jones for the way he played here and the way he left. Perry was largely irrelevant, left in disgrace, and took a pay cut to do it. Seth Jones spent multiple years as the highest paid player in Chicago, threw his teammates under the bus when he was the problem, and got rewarded with a trip to 2 finals for forcing his way out. I know who I'm rooting for between them, and it's not even close." Another reply says, "I hate Seth Jones 100 times more." And then another reply says, "I would prefer if both teams found a way to lose." So not only are maybe Canucks fans feeling a little bit remorseful with how their bottom 6 energy forwards to be were sent away, but Chicago fans, I feel, are getting more of this remorseful feeling when they consider some of the top stars that were on their team in the past and how they departed in Seth Jones. When you think about the Corey Perry fallout, how his entire situation with Chicago was riddled with duplicitous and dangerous rumors. Now, we can probably skip past that. We don't need to acknowledge what was talked about back then anymore. But Corey Perry in Edmonton, Seth Jones in Florida, 2 guys that Blackhawks fans can look at and snark at the same time. It does feel a little bit off-putting for Chicago fans to be watching the Stanley Cup Final, especially for the 2nd year in a row. So now, when you think about this, I think the ultimate question that I need to pose out there is this. Between Vancouver fans watching Stetcher, Forsling, Gadjovich, and Podkolzin in this final, and Blackhawks fans who are watching Corey Perry and Seth Jones, who's more miserable? Again, not the funnest and most amazing sunshines and rainbow pony type topic that you can have on a video like this, but I thought it was interesting how there are some equally mirroring negative feelings amongst people in these fan bases that revolve around watching the Stanley Cup Finals and cheering for or against players that happen to be participating. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this weird video commentary topic. Double P, Double J, Perry, Podkolzin, Jones, and Jonah Gadjovich. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about how all these guys had continued their careers post-Vancouver and Chicago, and your thoughts on how they've been performing in the playoffs this season. If you're a Canucks fan or a Blackhawks fan, I hope this video didn't get you too down, but I also do hope that you enjoyed this video. And bye.